What is up, FPG fam? Further here, and welcome back to another Aether Gazer video, where in today's video, I think it's about time we do a full in-depth guide for Skadi. I've been using her extensively, think I have a good handle on her, so it felt like the right time to do this, just like we did with Living Solo Cyrus. So hopefully you get some value out of this video, and hopefully it's helpful. Let's go ahead and jump straight into it. We're going to go over her skill, her kit, and then we'll do some gameplay. Now, I may miss a few things here or there, so if I do, I implore you, go in the comments down below, help me out. I do truly appreciate it. And if you have any further questions, I'll try and answer it down in the comments below as well. And once again, like I mentioned in the last video, thank you so much for all the support on the channel for the Aether Gazer content. It means the world to me. Let's go ahead and jump straight into it. So we have Skadi, who's a melee ice divine grace character, natural S rank that you can get in the up drop rate banner as of now, and she's from the Yggdrasil gen zone. I did my best. I did my best. Hopefully I didn't butcher it. I probably did once again, but you know, it is what it is. So let's go over to her skills. Skadi, right off the bat, I mentioned this in plenty of videos, she's a very unique modifier, bringing some very unique gameplay and unique mechanics. So if that is an interest of yours, Skadi might be a nice pickup for you. Now, what I will say just really quickly before we jump into the skills, if you're free to play, or you're a light spender, or you're new to the game trying to decide what to do, my advice is to save. Skadi's a fantastic character, and I mentioned that and showcase it in other videos. She hits hard, she's a good character, but I believe the characters that we're going to get in the future just supersede her and are far better. And if you care about that, then you may just want to save. But if you just want a fun character that can hold her own, do some really good damage, and is very unique outside of any other modifier you're probably going to play, and you like her design, by all means go for her. Now, with that being said, I know I just went off on a tangent. I just felt like I needed to knock that out in the beginning. Let's go over her skill. So she has the normal attack, which is pretty normal per normal attacks. Now, one thing, she does have a charge attack, which is the frost break, which deals damage. You can see the percentage right there. And then when she goes in the cruise mode, which we're going to talk about here in just a moment, it changes. So you need to keep that in mind. And this is once again unique to Skadi, because each of her skills are going to have two different features. You're going to have her when she's in her normal mode like she is now, and then in her cruise mode. So you just have to always keep that in mind. Now, if we go over to her first skill, Cold Front, essentially what she does is a few consecutive slashes at high speed. This first skill does some really good damage, and it provides you an icebreaker mark. Now, you can get up to a total of 3 icebreaker marks unless you have an Aether code that we're going to talk about here in just a moment. Now, these icebreaker marks are extremely important because it increases the damage of your charge skills by 20% and her ice damage by 10% with each icebreaker mark. So that is one that can stack upon itself. So obviously, if you have all of 3, then you're increasing your ice damage by 30%, not just 10%, right? So once again, you have to keep that in mind when you're using Skadi. That's where her gameplay is a bit more of on the tactful or on the more skillful side, because you want to make sure you have a full icebreaker marks before you decide to do, you know, your most damaging attacks. Now, when in your cruise mode, the Cold Front is replaced by Polar Blizzard, and once again, that's her jet ski mode. Expends 1 icebreaker mark to launch freezer tracking missiles at the enemy. Basically, it will freeze the enemy for you, do some ice damage. It's actually a really good skill when you're in the jet ski mode, and you see the damage that it applies there. Now, if we move over to skill 2, Flash Freeze, essentially you charge forward very quickly, slash the enemy, 1 big slash in front of you, and it does some tremendous damage. You can see the percentage right there. And then when you're in the jet ski mode, replaces the flash freeze with crystal smash when in the cruise mode. Now, when you do crystal smash cast, only when divine grace is full, and basically it launches you forward. You do like a charge attack with your jet ski, and you're able to do some good damage. Increases the launch speed of piercer tracking missiles by 75% for 2 seconds upon skill cast, and crystal smash has a cooldown of 3 seconds, and once again it uses divine grace. So that is the skill 2. Moving over to skill 3, this is the cruise mode. This is where she goes into the jet ski. She gets super armor. You're highly mobile. You're rangy now at this point, instead of a melee character, and your other skills, as we just talked about, change, and you're able to do some different things. Now, you're able to cancel the cruise mode, and you can come out of it at any point in time by hitting the skill 3 again. And this is just a very fun, unique mode to be in. It is incredibly fun to play, and it's just unique. Once again, to Skadi, that's where the uniqueness comes in, and that's where she sets herself apart from other characters, just by that. And then you can dodge in this mode as well, go under and then come out. You're just very mobile, agile, and very elusive in that mode. Now, if we go to the ultimate skill, the Wave Runner engines, basically you jump in the air with a massive slash of the sword, dealing some tremendous damage. Once again, the percentages right there. And then you hit surrounding enemies as an AoE, increases your charge skill. Now, this is what's really cool about the ultimate as well. Increases the charge skill damage of all teammates, so it is a supporting type of ultimate by 45% for 15 seconds upon skill cast, and grants a 25% ultimate skill charge when an enemy goes into control resistance. So essentially the way you would want to play Skadi is have all your icebreaker marks, do your ultimate, and then do your charge skill right afterwards, and you're able to do some really good damage. Now, moving over to the dodge skill, Iron on the Waves. This is a very unique dodge for Skadi herself for two reasons. The first reason is because when you do dodge, you actually do some damage as you're dodging. So when you're tapping, quickly dodges the enemy attacks and deals to enemies along the way ice damage equal to 100% of attack in total. So you're actually doing damage while you're dodging, which is really cool. But for the second reason is because when you hold down the dodge button, you actually provide yourself a shield that can reduce damage taken by 60%, and then you can actually do a counterattack in a sense to where you use one icebreaker mark and you actually do the charge attack Frostbreak. So that is very awesome and something that is nice to have on Skadi. Now, I will admit I don't find myself using the shield as much as I probably should. It's just not something that I feel that I necessarily need to do, because Skadi herself is pretty mobile and I love her dodge, and the dodge does damage itself. So I don't know, it might be one of those gameplay things where I need to work on it some more, but I just find myself dodging around rather than holding it down. But anyways, those are her skills in a nutshell. If we go over to the access key, obviously her signature functor is going to be the best, but she operates pretty well with anything that you put on her. I've used different functors on her and they work well, so nothing really to talk about there. Now, when it comes to the sigils, this is where you have some wiggle room in my opinion. So right now I have the Vanguard and I have the Griffin's Pride. This one is going to be good because with the Griffin's Pride, increases crit rate by 3% for each modifying level obtained, stacked up to 15% in total, so it just gives you some nice crit rate. And then the Vanguard Seal increases ice damage by 10%, increases crit damage of ice skills and ultimate skills by 20%, increases crit damage by an additional 40% when landing an attack on an enemy in freeze. I like this because I pair her up with Poseidon, so we're freezing the enemies a lot, so we're getting a lot of crit damage. So, and more ice damage from the set. It's just one that's really good, but we do have, let me go over to it really quickly. So we do have the recommended set that just came out for her, Iceberg. And this one, when in battle, the ice resistance of enemies hit by skills or ultimate skills is reduced by 10% for 8 seconds. The effect on enemies with control resistance is increased to 18%. So this is obviously a really good one to put on her, the recommended one. And then we also have the Philosopher's Fantasies, increases Divine Grace mods skill damage by 10%, gains 1 Divine Grace every second. So this is a really good one to place on her as well. I want to try the other set and see how that works out. I just haven't had the opportunity to farm it up just yet. So I'm going to go ahead and work on that. Those are the 2 sets that are recommended to try and place on her. Now, moving over to her Aether codes, we have many different options that you can take advantage of here. So we have the full yellow side, which is going to be essentially catered to her cruise mode or jet ski mode. So if you want to get the most damage out of being in the jet ski mode, you can go ahead and take advantage of the yellow side. We do have the red side, which is a bit of a supporting capabilities for your team. So you can take advantage of that and then some extra damage while you're in the jet ski mode, and then having an additional icebreaker mark, which I think this is really good. So instead of having 3, you can actually have 4. And then we have the full blue side, which I think this is just a full DPS side, where you're going to be just doing more damage, inflicting freeze, so then you can do more damage. So this is just more of the DPS side in my opinion. Now, so when I first got Skadi, I did the full blue side and that was working out fine. And then somebody suggested doing 2 blue, these 2 right here, and 1 red. I think this is very optimal for her. I like this build for the Aether code. So in my opinion, this is a really good one. Now, you could do the jet ski mode. The only thing about the jet ski mode that I'll just go ahead and mention as just a piece of advice or something to think about is that you're not always going to be in the jet ski mode. As a matter of fact, you're more just in the regular mode than you are in the jet ski mode. So you have to keep that in mind. You're going to be losing out, I believe, on a lot of damage because this is something where you're not always going to have this one as well. I thought about doing this one because it increases the effect of icebreaker marks by 100% when in the cruise mode. Now, if this was not in the cruise mode, this would be broken, but you have to be in the cruise mode, and once again, you're not always in that. More than half the time you're just in your regular mode, so I think you're just going to be losing out on DPS. So I think 1 red and 2 blue is the way to go, but you can mess around with it yourself and try different builds and see what you enjoy. You might go, I don't know, 2 blue, 1 yellow. It's up to you. But that is my recommendation. And then she has her chips, but I don't think her chips are really necessary because I feel as if most of the time if you're using Skadi, you're using her on point. But while Skadi will not use cruise mode under any circumstances and preferentially attack the team leader's target, boy, I can't say that name. It's a decent chip. I don't think it's anything that you really need to write home about. Now, at this time, I did want to go ahead and talk about team builds and teammates that you can place with Skadi. So once again, I believe you will be running Skadi on point if you're using her. That's just naturally, I believe, her playstyle because she's fun and she's the DPS. So I believe you're going to be using her on point. Now, some teammates that you can place with her, obviously, I believe the meta is going to be these 2 characters right here. So Leviathan for the skill chain, and I believe she can apply freeze with her ult and do some other interesting things, and then Vidar as well because I believe she shreds the ice resistance of the enemies, so that's going to allow Skadi to do more damage. So I think those 2 paired up with Skadi is the meta for that team. You could also use Kali right here because you're going to get the ultimate skill chain, which I believe Kali's ultimate skill chain is just a little bit better just from what I can read than Leviathan's, but that's just my opinion. I haven't used it in practice, so you guys could let me know. But you could use Kali as well for the ultimate skill chain. Another character that I love to run alongside Skadi is Arctic Abyss Poseidon because she constantly freezes the enemy, meaning once again that you're going to be able to do a lot of damage with Skadi for that increased damage against enemies that are frozen. Plus Arctic Abyss, she does good damage herself, so she just brings a lot of utility to the table. Another character that I like to run alongside her as well is my girl Archaic Ver, or Shield Ver, because she is of the same gen zone, and I like the gen zone modifier that you get. Basically, when you go into the modified mode, you restore your resources. So you go to full, which means once you go in the modified mode, you can go straight into your cruise mode and just do a lot of damage. So you have that. And then another character I've been playing around with that you'll probably see in this gameplay is early Sakura. And the reason being is because of her skill, she's able to just provide a lot of support. And I think she is a sneaky good option that you can try if you have her. Place her alongside your Skadi and see if you could just do some more damage. So those are probably my recommendations. Obviously, you could place other characters on there, but those are just the ones that I would recommend. My advice on if you play Skadi, who you should pair her up with. I think those will work the best. But obviously, any other gen zone, like, you know, you can go Dark Mistletoe because of their same gen zone. You can go with the original Ver. So you got to keep that in mind. At the end of the day, play with the characters that you enjoyed. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into some gameplay, and I'll explain how to play her the most proficient way possible. I should have said try to explain how to play her the most proficient way possible, the most optimal. So I like to go ahead and start with the skill, get the icebreaker marks going. I like to do the second skill right there, do a few attacks right there, and then go right into the charge attack, if I can charge attack at all. There we go. Now we got the skills back. I just want to make sure that I'm doing the skills as much as possible whenever they're up, so that way I can get those icebreaker marks built up as quickly as possible. So let's go ahead and jump into another stage because that was way too fast. I believe this is going to be a boss stage here. But essentially, skill 1, skill 2, do your charge attack, do more charge attacks, and then wait till your skills cool down, and then go right back into it. And basically get to 3 or 4, whatever you have, 3 or 4 icebreaker marks as quickly as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and do it again. And we modified mode. Very nice. Go here. And then we're going to go right into here. And then we're going to do another charge attack. Nice. Go right here. Now we're full. And I'm going to go right into the ult with the full icebreaker mark. And then we got modified mode again. And I'm going to go right into the charge skill. Because we're going to be doing max damage now. Nice. Go ahead and do that. Nice. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and do this. And then I'm going to go into the cruise mode. All right, here we go. We got full icebreaker marks in the cruise mode. And there you go. And there you go. So anyways, guys, that is the full in-depth guide for Skadi. Everything that I know about her and everything that I wanted to go ahead and try and explain to you guys, just in case you are unaware of how to play her, you know, how she operates. So anyways, thank you guys so much for all the support once again. And I'll see you all in the next one. Remember to stand out, be different, have fun, go further beyond in everything that you do. My name is Cody. You call me further. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.